Hey, what's going on? This is Ellse, and you're now tuned into Vengeance Worldwide. Shout out Vengeance Worldwide. So I was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then I think like within the first year of being born, we moved to Toronto for a bit, and then I lived between Toronto and Windsor. But I spent from like I'd say grade 10 credits wise, grade 11 real life in Toronto onwards. And I guess in Toronto, I don't really claim a hood. I don't claim a hood, but I grew up in the West End. I lived in Parkdale. I lived near Jane and Finch, like more like Finch and Driftwood. But I just lived in the West End for the most part, and then I lived like in Scarborough for a bit when I was working at Major Music. I think I kind of just got into it mainly as like a coping mechanism. I was kind of one of my friends told me to first like start. He's like, yo, you should. We were freestyling and stuff. He's like, yo, you should try recording. And he had like a little crap computer mic at home, you know. So he was doing that and sending me like little examples and stuff. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, let me just try it, see how it sounds. And then I more so got attached to the recording when it was like songs that I could listen to that were like helping me feel better about my thoughts, you know? So I feel like that's how I first got like really connected to it. And then I started pursuing it in a more serious manner when people started telling me like the music's actually okay, like my friends. Then I started releasing it, and then I'm realizing that like I might not be getting a huge response, but the response is always positive. So I'm getting good feedback every time, you know? So it's like, that was kind of like more of a reason for me to say, like more of a reason to focus on it, I guess, to see like what I could do with it. I have like a mixture. I'm old, so my artists that inspired me are like Tupac was like my favorite artist. I think Bone Thugs and Harmony like inspired me to rap faster, to do the double time type of rap, and like be melodic still. They had like a weird melodic side to their music, and Ludacris probably like is like a huge inspiration. Yeah. So I was when I started recording music, I was recording myself, and then I started recording my friends, and that would have been like 2010 is when I started like recording music, but I didn't start working in like a studio or professional manner until 2018. Yeah. That would be like when I learned Pro Tools. Before then, I was just like trying shit out and it was working, you know? Then when I got in the studio, there was like a standard that I had to use Pro Tools to match with the other engineers if we have to share each other's sessions and pick up a client. So I had to learn that language kind of quick. So that kind of helped me advance my sound in engineering. So an engineer is the guy that's in the studio, like how we are here, that's hitting record and doing some touches while you're recording to make sure it sounds like somewhat presentable, or so you can just like enjoy some playback until you get the mixing engineer. But then the producer is, okay, we'll do the beat maker first. The beat maker is the person that just made a beat, you know, like they might be a person that makes beats all the time at the crib, and then they send out beats to artists. The artists just choose whatever beat they like, and then they run with it. The producer is gonna be more hands-on of the overall project, but then in the music world, like the producer is also the beat maker. If it comes to like hip hop, for the most part, they don't really differentiate as much. But then you have like an executive producer, which would be the person that oversees everything, you know? Advice, I would say definitely be open-minded. If you have any fears or like things that you feel like you have to conquer, whether it's socially with like anxiety, stuff like that, like just try to tackle it head on and find out what coping mechanisms work for you, find out what your triggers are, and find out different ways to avoid those so you can keep advancing. Because for example, like bullying is a big fear for a lot of people. So when they release music, they're afraid to get the slander, or they're afraid to get the put downs, or even just told that the song's not good, or not see the numbers that they're expecting to see. Like, lower your expectation and just create, you know. And then don't disregard the comments, but take everything with a grain of salt. Remember that some people are just trolls, so they're just looking to have fun on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is. Okay, so I've worked with Young Tory, Vanali Stacks, Casper, Biz Loke, Free Biz Loke, Jeezy Loke, Free Jeezy Loke, Oxsnap, A-Kills, Local City, Top 5, The Crook. I've never been in the studio with Roni, but I mixed one of his tracks. Big Lean, I've been in the studio with. Low key, I'm sorry if I don't even say your name, because there's a lot of people still. This is a long list. I'm trying to think of like the ones that people know in the city, you know? Yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'll include Bushman, YG, J-Neat, Northside Benji, Houdini. I didn't get to work with Presser yet, but Houdini, RIP, I got a chance to work with him once. So, yeah. In the world. I'm probably going Childish Gambino, to be honest, as weird as that is. I feel like even if I were to do like a whole project with him, everything would be completely different. And he's like very innovative. So I feel like he'll be able to bring ideas to my mind without me even being the one to think of it. So I feel like he's definitely somebody I could like build with. Yeah. Favorite project I made. I have this so I used to go by Ellse, the artist, like Elcee. And I released like a lot of albums during that period of time. And I had one called Leo Soul. That one was like probably one of my favorite, like it was all original beats. That shit's like from 2014. And then I would say if it's not that one, I have these like 2 mixtapes that I did. There's like Mainstream, 1 and 2. And I think those would probably be my favorite because they're like a lot of different like SoundCloud type of beats. So some weird shit. So it was fun. I guess, okay, I know that life isn't simple, so to just tell somebody to focus on school and go get a 9-to-5 job and then start your career, it's like, cool, that's a good idea. Whatever you're doing, be smart with your decisions. If you're making high-risk decisions, remember it's a get in and get out situation. So whatever, if it's gambling, if you're doing crypto, like, it doesn't have to be the streets, but whatever it is that you're doing, just like stay like driven, because your drive is what's going to keep you focused and keep you on point for all these decisions that you have to make. And be real with yourself. Like don't lie to yourself to make yourself feel better about something that's going on. Just actually confront it mentally and be like, yeah, this is not going as good as I thought it would. What could I do to change it? Or like, as something as simple as a song, like it's okay to admit that your own song is not that good and you got to work on it. Like, and if your friends, if you notice that your song's not that good and you have people around you that are acting like it's okay, but you know that like you're out of key, then just keep that in mind and remember that they're not the best judges for your content, for what you're going for. And then start looking for other sources to get that feedback from. They kind of transitioned, I would say, a lot. Like they keep kind of transitioning, and I think because I keep teeter-tottering on like different paths, like for a bit I'll get more shine and notoriety as an engineer and I run with it, right? And it's going good and it's whatever, and then that might lead me into a relationship with maybe a record label for distribution for my music. So then it reopens that window of like, okay, let me focus on this for a bit. So I think my end goal overall is like literally just to be financially stable off of media, as like I don't even really consider myself like an influencer, but because I'm doing a variety of things, I'm trying to find a label for it. And I guess influencer is the best approach right now, because it's like, I work in the studio, but I'm also an artist, but then I also kind of do video production a little bit. I'm just trying to figure out which hat fits the best, you know? So I'm not even sure exactly what the end goal is, just to be financially stable off of the media industry, if that makes sense. All right, so if we're having Rolling Loud, it's seeming like it's kind of a topic of discussion where we might not be having it, but if we are having it, I just have to have some sort of VIP access, so I'm trying to manifest that. Like, I don't need to be performing, but like, I'm kind of like, I'm around a lot of people in the city, so let me backstage. You know, let me be backstage and mingle with the people I already know, right? So that's like, I think one of the things I'm manifesting. And I'm starting to roll out my music now. I just dropped a video recently, like a few weeks ago. So as long as I maintain my release schedule and I focus on the strategy and I keep releasing properly, then I just see my music artistry side overshining my engineering again. So then I kind of manifest that. And then the engineering is not going to disappear, but the people that are working with me, it won't really need to be the forefront of my brand anymore. So I kind of want to shift that and manifest it more into the artistry. So I'm trying to drop a video monthly right now. That's my game plan. So I have 2 in the vault already. And probably by the end of the year, I should have an album out, as well as I'm working on an engineer EP. So I have songs already from a few artists in the city. I have one from Casper, I have one from Roadrunner. I kind of have one from Bushman. I don't know, he might be mad at me, but I might still use it. So I asked him, he hasn't responded to me about it yet. You know, he's been a little busy. So I might just have to see if I get the copyright infringement on that one. You know, I gotta include Bushman on the project. He's my dog. Even if he gets offended, like, he'll understand. So I want to drop an engineer EP though, to include some of the talented artists that are already building, like they have their brand and they're building even more. They're just like higher rising stars. And then I want to put on some of the upcoming artists that I work with that I feel like deserve some spotlight, but just are still building their way up, you know? So I want to kind of create a series. If it goes good, I want to create a series of engineer projects, because I continuously work with people. So it's a way for me to try to help them, as well as cross the paths and introduce people to different audiences. You know, it's like a playlist basically of different artists from the city, hopefully, if it goes right. So frig, it's Ellse, everything else, ELLSE, on Instagram. TikTok, I'm trying to like get into it. So follow me on there, or just follow me on Instagram until I say that I'm actually active on TikTok.